So for our very first lab, what we're going to do is make an animated clicker. Basically, you're going to have a character, a shape, a whatever, a drawing of some sort that when you click on it, it does a little animation and then it just resets. The reason why we're starting with this is that way it's sort of an overview of what we're going to be doing throughout the course. We're going to create graphics, animation, and then interactive components. And so this kind of encompasses all of it. We're not going to get really in depth with any specific element of it. We're just going to be doing, something really simple. But it should be, like I said, it'll be a good overview. So don't get too worried if like you don't entirely understand all the things. We're going to get more in depth. Particularly like we're going to work on graphics next week. So we're going to do File, New. And I'm just going to go ahead and go to the web, and then we're going to choose low, and these settings are good, and hit create. Because we're just doing one small little clicker animation, I don't need to be very large. Okay, so this all looks fine. If you do have a drawing tablet of any sort, whether it be like a Wacom that's a separate thing, or you have a screen that you can draw on, you might find that a little bit easier. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to kind of cover graphic creation next week. So I'm going to do this in a very simple, just kind of drawn way, as opposed to covering kind of the more unique aspects of anime. It has some interesting methods for creating vector graphics. We're not going to cover that here. So what we're going to do is actually use the classic brush, which is this one right here. Just to make a note about it, it does draw it as fills, which means it makes it a little bit difficult to manipulate. But you'll notice even if I draw with the mouse, it still has sort of an interesting line quality, and that's why we're going to use that. If you do have a tablet, a drawing tablet of some sort, you can turn on this and it will actually take in the pressure into account. So I can go thin to thick, and you can see, depending on how hard I push, it will create different line qualities, okay? And I'm just hitting Control Z or Command Z to undo. You should really know that at this point, but just on the off chance. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to animate, I think I already said this, but my cone character waving. So I'm just going to have the cone character, then when you click on it, he waves at you. So I'm just going to do a really basic drawing, and then after that, you guys can do, draw your own thing. Like I say, it could be any number of things. If you want to do a character, they click on and it does something, or you want to do like, you click on a pot and a plant grows out of it. You click on it, it's a ball and it bounces around or something. Really can be whatever you like. I'm just going to do, my thing here. So I'm just going to kind of draw my cone guy, and then we'll go from there. So, and you can make it, relatively whatever size. So I'm going to have the brush there. I'm going to make the fill, make sure it's black. So you just click on this, choose black. Okay. And then you can change the size here. So right now mine's at 3. That's probably fine. And then if you notice that it's not smoothing properly, you can make some adjustments here. So I'm just going to draw the outline of him and then kind of go from there. So usually I like to have more of a underdrawing, but I'm just going to make this kind of sketchy just to get the idea across. All right. And then we'll just kind of go. All right. So you can see sometimes it smooths itself right out to the point where it doesn't work. Okay. And then we'll just draw his little eyes. Okay. And I'm going to make him just sitting, I think. So I'm just going to have his foot like this, his other foot like that. And then we'll just have him with his hands down like this. Like so. Okay. So something like that. Oh, he's got to have his traffic thing there. Okay. So now what we can do is I just want to fill him in because he's all just one solid color, or he's got no color. So I just want to make sure that he does have color. So what you're going to notice is originally when we had a layer here, notice that it's hollow. See how it's solid? That means there's a drawing there. I'm just going to delete this one because I don't actually want it. So you'll see that now there is a drawing on that layer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it. So there is this fill tool here, the paint bucket tool, and basically we can choose the color. So I'm just going to click on here. And then I'm going to look and be like, oh, this color looks fine. Now, if you don't like the colors that are available, you can click on this, and then you just choose up here, this little color wheel, and then you'll have the whole, basically, histogram available to you. What I would suggest, because by default, it has it on the red channel, apparently. That's really dumb. Just choose hue, because that way you can shift through the hues. You see there's different models of how it works. I think hue's the easiest, so I'm just go down like orange. Oops, that was Oops. Might be easier with this thing. And I'm going to choose a color. We'll say that one. Okay. And then I'll click in here. And I'll click here and here. Oops. Let's undo that. So on and so forth. Now, notice when I click in here, see how it's not filling? And the reason for that is that if I zoom in here, so if you hold control and scroll wheel, or you can do the usual control plus and minus, if you're familiar with that, is that there's a gap there. See the gap? So it can't fill. There's also a gap down here. So it can't fill that in because it'll leak. Now, there is an option. If you click on this, you'll see don't close gaps, close small gaps, medium gaps, large gaps. I'll try large gaps and see what happens. And you can see it was able to fill them in. Okay. I would say most of the time, I would leave this by default on close small gaps. All right. Because what'll happen is to see right here, you can see it. See how it didn't actually go all the way in? So that's why that's not always the best to do. Okay. Should I do this one too? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So you can see, and that's even with the one thing there. Okay. So now what I want to do is this. You can see some of this is see how some of this is like not, because it's sketchy, it's not really filling in the lines there. What I can do is I'm going to go back to the classic brush, and you'll see there's some options down here. So if I click on this, you'll see paint normal. And what that means that when I draw, see how it's drawing across and over top of? So let me make that, I'm going to use the brush bigger by using the bracket keys to the right of the P key. You can also just adjust it over here. But notice how it'll draw over top of it, right? Which is just kind of the normal way you would expect. But if I click on here, you can see paint fills only, which I don't have any strokes. This is all fill, so that won't really change anything. Paint behind, watch this. It'll only paint behind it. And then there's other options as well. Paint inside, paint selection, and paint inside. So let's try paint inside. Is that gonna, okay, it did overlap so it unfortunately did that. So we're gonna use, because of the way, I don't want that on. Make sure this is off, by the way. We're gonna use just the paint behind, because I feel like that will just be easier, and then I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just gonna have to manually kind of go like this. And you can see it'll paint behind it, and I don't end up with the weird, sketchy lines. Yeah, it's close enough. Put it there. Okay, so good. Now we have a drawing. All right. Now, if you want to do more with this, you can try doing different colors and paint and what have you. But in this case, this is just, like I said, this is more of an intro to the thing. So we have our first, oh, I got to do the white. I forgot about the white. Hang on. So I'm going to use, let's say, the fill here. And we're going to do, and I'm going to do just this color, actually, and then I'm going to click on this. I'm just going to give it a real slight tint because it'll be easier to see. So we're going to use that and paint bucket, and I'm just going to paint that in. And then I'm going to go back to this with the paint behind and just make sure that it's in there. Okay, good. So now that's colored. And if for some reason you do have white things and you want to see them, you can click the select tool, click on this, and then just change the background color to something so that you can see what's see-through and not if you do have white elements. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so we have like just a basic drawing. It's not super great, but you get the idea. All right, so feel free to kind of, if you want to experiment with the different brushes here, if you click on this, you'll see there's another one too. This one originally wasn't in there. I accidentally pulled that in earlier, but there's two other ones as well. We'll go over what those brushes are in future lessons, but for now, I'm just going to use the classic brush just because I feel like that will kind of give us the most expected results, and I think it's a little bit more straightforward. All right, so just for this first video, just go ahead and make your first graphic. It's also going to be what the button is. So really, that's what you're looking for here. So this is just my first thing.